3, 2, 1.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, it is Commissioner Cooper, and it's time for TSS Fantasy.
Oh.
That's what it is.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's what it is.
Oh.
Yeah.
Fantasy Jesus.
Oh.
I'm here to save your fantasy roster.
Oh.
Fantasy Jesus. Well, it worked for The Rock and it's going to work for me.
Yeah.
Oh.
TSS Fantasy.
Oh.
Yeah. TSS Fantasy.
Oh.
And you just got flandered.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, it is Commissioner Cooper, and it's time for TSS Fantasy.
And you just got flandered.
That's what it is.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is Commissioner Cooper, and it's time for TSS Fantasy.
Yeah!
All right. Justin got the double up roll. Let's go. I know, speaking of rolls, man, I can't even roll over off the couch at this point. Ate so damn much turkey yesterday. We're super excited. What a great slot of games, and we got a lot to talk about for this Sunday. Let's get the introduction started. Welcome into the studio, Justin Jesus Herrera.
Oh, man. You're talking about eating so much goddamn turkey. I was eating so much goddamn turkey for leftovers. Woo-wee! And, you know, I know that all of our fans are leftover guys, too. So while you're over there eating your leftovers, eating that pumpkin pie, why don't you stop on by tssfantasy.com, check out our rankings, check out our merch, check out our articles. And as usual, we love it when you subscribe to our channel, push the like button, hit that notifications bell. You're going to want to get paid this upcoming Sunday. Mikey Betts is back. So we're not going to be giving you our shitty bets. He's going to be giving you those W's this week. So get on with us, guys. And we're getting in the playoff season. So you know you need some TSS in your life when it comes to week 14 and on. So let's get to it. I'm ready for this week, man. I'm ready. I know I'm almost firmly back in control of that week pick'em thing that we got going on. And let's go.
All right. Still working on that introduction in week 12 is Justin Jesus Herrera. Let's also welcome to studio Nick. You got flandered macaronis.
Yes, welcome. Apparently, we got the memo that we're all supposed to wear a shade of red or pink. Yeah, we all got that. So, so it is post Turkey Day. We are officially into the Christmas season. So, like all of you, I assume we're put up all of your holiday decorations. But enough about that. Tonight we got two great guests tonight in Deb and Gina, and I can't wait because tonight I'm expecting things to get just a little spicy with Miss Gina this evening. I'm ready. I got the hot sauce ready to go. And what else is ready is if you go on to Underdog Fantasy, click on the promo code TSS. We double your deposit.
Yeah, double that deposit up to $100. Indeed, Nick. Speaking of the holidays, Thanksgiving, it's all about friends and family. Deb and Gina, both friends of the show. We're excited to have them in for a little Fantasy Feud, and we're going to break down the games here in just 1 second. Before we do that, first, let's say what's up to Colts Martin. Hello, what's up, boys? Appreciate you chiming in tonight. Before we get to that, I wanted to talk real quick about Santa Jester. I'm not going to say the normal things I say because we have ladies in the building.
You mean Fred Claus?
We got to bring up the Jester's Santa sleigh and bring up some of the great things that he has for you. If you hit that subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen, let's check it out.
It's the most wonderful time of the year, with the kids jingle belling and everyone telling you be of good cheer. It's the most wonderful time of the year. It's the happy season of all.
Nobody does the holidays like TSS Fantasy. And look what we brought into the building. Two of the loveliest ladies in sports entertainment.
I love it.
First, let's welcome into the studio Deb Wickes. Welcome into the studio, my friend.
Thank you. So excited to be here. Cannot wait. Cannot wait for week 12.
Yes, indeed. Lots of excitement, especially after yesterday. Some great Turkey Day games for sure. Let's also welcome into the studio Lady G, Miss Gina. Welcome into the studio.
Hey. Thank you for having me back. I'm so glad to be here. Nice to meet you, Deb.
Nice to
We're
meet you.
catching up this joy tonight, aren't we? So glad to be here.
Well, we're happy to have you, ladies. That is for sure. All right, so we're going to start things off real quick. I just wanted to get your, since we, again, we're coming off of Turkey Day. Before we look on to Sunday, let's just talk round the table real quick about yesterday. First, we'll just, Gina, let's just go to you real quick on your thoughts on the Bills-Lions game. Let's go to you for that one. What were your thoughts on that? Anybody in particular you thought outshined? Obviously, the Lions come off a great game. What were your thoughts on it?
Yes, actually, definitely a good game. Kind of what I expected. I think a lot of people thought perhaps the Bills were going to blow the Lions out, but we know the Lions have had one of the best offenses this season, right? It's just been the defense that's kind of been letting them down a little bit. So, obviously, since I'm in the AFC, I wanted the Bills to go down. Let's be honest. I wanted them to go down. But I knew that was not likely going to happen, but the Lions, they gave that game away. There are a few plays, I feel like, where they really could have locked that game up. They had the Bills on their heels, shaking in their boots just a tad bit, right? They knew they had to come through. And, unfortunately, they started losing some players in the game. Von Miller went out. I know Milano went out for a little bit and came back, and I think a few other players, particularly the one play where they were like 3rd and 1. And they decided to go for this big pass down the field instead of just picking up the 1 yard and getting a new set of downs. Like, why? They could have ran the timeout, scored, and the game would have been over. So I really had an issue with some of the play calling down the stretch. But it was a very good game. The Bills did what they normally do, right? And so now they're sitting 8-3, and the fight continues at the top of the AFC.
And to your point, I think Tony Romo pointed it out. I know I blurted it out as it was happening. You could tell that, the Lions haven't been here before. They haven't been in these situations. They're coming down the stretch, poor clock management. You've been running at the Buffalo Bills all day, and it's been working.
Absolutely.
Why on 3rd and 1 do you throw deep? It doesn't make any sense. Either way, like I said, they kind of out-thought themselves out of that ball game.
Really?
Obviously, we're all
Because coaches like to get cute.
exactly. Get a little too cute down the stretch, but hey, and that's what cost you, indeed. All right, Deb, we'll go to you on the next one. How about the Cowboys and the Giants? I know you got vested interest in being an Eagles fan. What were your thoughts on that matchup?
That was NFC East for sure. I was actually rooting for Dallas, which is super weird. But no, I mean, good game. Obviously, I honestly have to be honest, I didn't watch it fully with my Thanksgiving festivities going on because it was right around the time we were eating turkey. But, definitely the game was on, caught as much as I could. Was excited to see Dallas win. Parsons just is, defense-wise, is just killing.
Him.
I mean, come on.
I think he's the best player in the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't disagree with you on that at all. Dallas deserved to win that game. They killed the Vikings the week before. I expected a big game. I expected them to beat the Giants. I think the Giants put up a good fight. I was a little worried in the beginning, and then obviously the Dallas pulled ahead and won the game. So
I think the
CeeDee
difference
Lamb acted like he enjoyed wearing that 88 yesterday. I'll say that much.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a difference in the playmakers. I mean, you could tell the playmakers are on the Cowboys side of the ball. Giants just didn't have all that. But again, a good effort for them, having injuries on the line. They played very well up until the end. So again, valiant effort and a good game nonetheless. So we again appreciated that. Thank you.
Justin, make a comment just about the
Yeah.
Bills and
Yeah,
the Bills
please.
Lions game? I was a little iffy. I thought maybe the Lions had it for a bit there, but prior thinking about it too. But honestly, the best just was seeing Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs like hugging at the end. One of my favorite
Right.
moments of the entire season thus far. I think that look that Josh Allen gave him was like, "Oh my God, hi, hug me," and it was super sweet, and I loved every bit of it.
You know what? You
Everybody
want to hug?
needs Stephon
I
Diggs.
loved when Tua hugged Josh Allen and give him a pity hug at the end of our games. That was my
There we
best
go.
hug of the season. I like that one. Justin, let's go to you for the nightcapper. What'd you think of the Vikings and Patriots game?
What I thought about that game is that when are we going to see who the real Mac Jones is? Because he'll come out and he'll show you, oh, I can only throw it for like a little pity 150 yards. And then yesterday threw for 382. Get out of here. I mean, we all know he's a really good talent. He's probably the best pure QB that came out of that, draft, considering he came from the pedigree in Alabama. But the reality is with this is the Patriots, they looked good. They looked legitimately good last night. Their run game is kicking on all cylinders. They showed that they don't even need Damian Harris anymore. Step aside because Ramondre Stevenson is here to take the game over. And then, Devontae Parker making some big catches on the sideline. We got a little bit of Jacoby Myers. He would come in, he would make a play, and he'd get injured. I really hope he gets well because he's on my fantasy team. He's been a little gem for me all season long. And then Hunter Henry, they got him going. And then on the other side, you don't even need to talk about the man, Justin Jefferson, the man, the myth, the freaking legend. The guy gets better every single week. Kirk Cousins, primetime Cousins, he showed up. He showed up. And you know what's funny? Is the last game that he showed up real big in primetime, guess what it was? It was a Thanksgiving game. He threw for over 280 yards. He did 299 last night. He screwed me out of a prop bet, but I won the Vikings anyways. I liked that the Vikings won. I went for 299.5 the over. He got 299. So I was like, come on.
Nice.
Oh my goodness.
Great games. Great games all the
Bro.
way around yesterday. And the one thing I will say just before we go into our for this week is I really like what the NFL did with the tribute to John Madden and the Thanksgiving. I thought that was really cool. Because the day prior, the NFL Network replayed an old Thanksgiving game with him and Pat Summerall, and I just happened to have it on the TV, and I was at home, and man, was that some nostalgia! Just playing, it was almost like hearing an old song. Almost, and it was just very cool to see that. The only thing I will say, I wish they bring the telestrator back just a little bit of the lines, just whatever, a little boom action, whatever. Let's bring John back a little bit. We appreciate it. All right, let's get to week 12. We got a lot to talk about. Let's get to the breakdown. All right, Nick, let's start with you, my friend, with the Bengals at the Titans. Pretty decent game for sure. The Bengals defensively are 5th against QBs, 12th against running backs, 8th versus receivers, 14th versus tight ends. The Titans, 27th against QBs, 7th against running backs, 30th against receivers, and 18th versus tight ends. Give me some guys you like and don't like, and they match it.
Well, let's go with the two guys that I like on the Titans. It's only two. I like Tannehill, and I like Tannehill only because in a 2-quarterback format, you're not going to play him in a 1-quarterback set. So he's averaging 13 points a game. So if you need a low-end streamer for a quarterback, get Tannehill. He won't kill you, but then again, he's not going to engineer some fantastic drives either. I mean, when you got Derrick Henry behind you, what else you going to do? And then you got no receivers. So he's number 26 overall, 2 top 10s. It's nice. If you need a streamer, go out and grab him. But as far as Derrick Henry goes, he's number 2 overall in PPR formats, and he's averaging 20 points per game. Now, in weeks 6 through 11, he's number 4 with 22 points per game, 602 yards, by far the most, and 5 TDs. So obviously you're starting him. You're starting him if they got 15 guys on defense. You're still going to start him. So on the other side, I'm going to go to Joe Burrow. I mean, this guy's awesome. Like he's number 4 in the league. In week 6 through 11, he's number 3, and he's averaging 26.8 points per game. He's only had two non-top 10s the whole season long. And interesting fun fact, he's second in the red zone with 63%, owing to Patrick Mahomes. So, again, you're going to start Burrow, you're going to start Higgins, but the guy this week, Mixon is out. Mixon is out. So Pirine should be your plug-in starter because he's been there the whole season. He's a third down back, and he played the game 46 snaps last week. So just roll that right into this week. Even though there's a stout run defense, they don't do well against wideouts. They're 30th against wide receivers, so he'll be more effective in the passing game.
All right, it's going to be an interesting matchup in the AFC for sure. A lot of playoff implications on the line in that one. Let's go to you, Gina, for this one. The Texans go to America's team, the Miami Dolphins. The Texans, defensively, they're 3rd against QBs, believe it or not, but dead last against running backs. Against receivers, they're 4th. Against tight ends, 22nd. America's team, 31st against QBs. Ew. 11th versus running backs, 19th versus receiver, 29th versus tight end. What do you say about this matchup?
First of all, I like to speak the truth. I don't think any team is America's team, but it certainly is not the Dolphins, bro. Like, why are we even doing this? Like, I don't do any, I mean, it's the Cowboys, whatever you want.
This is my thing, all right? Come on.
Gina's getting a little spicy.
Thing.
I mean, come on. And
You're going to get a T-shirt.
Anyway, back from game 2, so don't do that. Don't do that. So the
Miss Gina's my favorite.
so the Texans. So we know one of the most interesting things about this game coming in is what? Davis Mills got benched, right? And so Kyle Allen is playing. I'm like, Kyle Allen, like, what's the deal? I mean, this dude, he's been a backup. Went back and looked at a little bit of his stats. He had kind of a pretty decent year back in 2019 with Carolina, like 3,300 yards around. It looks like over the 4 years, he averages around 64%, completion. So to me, the quarterback is a big question with the Texans going into this game. But we all know who the star is. It's Dameon Pierce. You either have him or you don't. And if you don't have him, wonk wonk. If you do, I know you've been super happy. So obviously, anybody with Dameon Pierce is, they got him in there. The backup there looks like, Benjamin kind of, Dameon gets the majority of the carries, but it looks like, I guess, when he has to get a rest, Benjamin might get a few. He's at least going into this week, they're looking for him to get at least maybe about 4 or 5, targets or so. So not a lot. And a little bit of Rex Burkhead, but, it's all about Dameon and that offense. As far as the wide receivers, you might want to look at their wide receivers kind of get around the same amount of targets. Brandon is finally out there. Brandon Cooks, interesting story, on him this season, right? They paid him all the money. Then he decided he wanted to be traded. They didn't trade him. Then he got upset with that. But, you have all this guaranteed money, bro. Just go ahead and play. You knew what the Texans were going to be this season. So he'll have about, it is expected he'll have about 6 or 7 targets. And then Nico Collins and Philip Dorsett, and they both showed up in a few games this season, right? They're looking at about 4 to 5 targets, maybe somewhere between 25 to 50 yards each for them, so not big time stuff, but, that's what you have. But a lot of that is just really going to be dependent upon what Kyle Allen does. So, and I'm like, are they trying to do a proper tank? Is that why they benched Davis Mills? Like, I'm not sure. I heard from fans, at least in Twitter spaces, that they are very much after Bryce Young. So we'll see.
We shall see indeed. We already know what's going to go down for America's team, the Miami Dolphins. Deb, let's go to you for the next one. The Falcons at Commanders. The Falcons defensively 25th against QBs, 20th against running backs, 31st against receivers, and 23rd against tight ends. Commanders 20th against QBs, 5th against running backs, 21st against receivers, and first, numero uno, against tight ends. What say you? What do you say about this matchup?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a good game. The Falcons 5-6, Commanders 6-5. I mean, Commanders are favored by what, 4.5, and this game could literally dictate the wild card spot for NFC. I mean, in the Atlanta, this is supposed to be a rebuilding year, but here we are, which is a little crazy. I mean, the division isn't. It's a weaker division. The Bucks, expect it as number one right now, but ATL was up there for a bit. As far as Washington goes, Heineke's killing it. Let's be honest. Wentz they were 1-4 with Wentz. Now 6-5 under Heineke. I know Taylor personally. Great guy, great quarterback. I get why the team rallies around him. He's got something special. He's been connecting with McLaurin. That's his go-to guy. He just has that nonstop kind of dog mentality. So. Yeah, just never count Taylor Heineke out, ever. So yeah, I mean, who knows? But yeah, it's interesting enough. Taylor's actually from Atlanta too, and last year the Washington football team beat ATL. It was 34-30 week 4 in October. But this season, as far as wide receivers, running backs, Heineke's got a lot of weapons around him. He's got Robinson, he's got Samuel, he's got, Gibson, Dotson, obviously McLaurin. His O-line has been solid. Yeah, I mean, and the Commanders, the defense, 14th in the league and second in the run defense. Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne have like 6.5 sacks each. We'll see. I mean, the run game is going to be difficult with Atlanta. That's what I'm worried about. But if Payne and Allen can stop Mariota, can stop the wide receivers, we'll see. I think obviously Kyle Pitts is not playing. He's on our IR, so it's a little bit weaker right now. But we'll see what happens. Also, Joey Sly, kicker for Washington, has been killing it. Against the Eagles. They just beat the Eagles 2 weeks ago. Eagles are no longer undefeated. And we'll see. And also Patterson just had an amazing, kickoff return. It was like 103 yards or something crazy like that. So yeah, I think this is going to be a really good game. If the Commanders defense can hold the Atlanta's run game, I think they have it. I agree. I favor them. I think it's going to be, what did I say here? 21-18.
Yeah. And to your point, what Atlanta does well offensively is what the Commanders, Redskins, do well defensively, which might spell trouble for them going into this matchup. Although, I would somewhat think there might be a little sneaky fantasy bonanza on the Redskins sky, because this Atlanta defense is not very good at all. So Antonio Gibson, Brian Robinson Jr., you can obviously expect Terry McLaurin as well. So yeah, definitely some juicy picks in this matchup. Justin, let's go.
Commissioner, one quick second, sir.
Yeah.
Can I just add something about Miami? I almost didn't want to talk about your team because of that intro you gave me, but I do want to add this one piece, right? We all know about Tyreek Hill. We all know about Jalen Waddle. Those road runners are doing what they're doing. But if you've been watching the team, Trent Sherfield seems to be coming on somebody for everybody. If you're looking, like we're deep, right? We have buys, we got injuries. You're looking for somebody else. Definitely pay attention, I think, to Trent Sherfield. If you can pick him up. He's been targeting him. He has one tutty so far, but he's definitely been targeting him. He has 247 yards so far, and he's obviously wide receiver 3. 4 of those other 2 guys are getting, averaging over 100 yards a game and everything. But take a look at Trent Sherfield, and obviously Mike Gesicki is still going to get his, but I do have my eye on him. I did look and try to pick him up. If you can find him, I think go ahead and snatch him. He might help you in these last weeks down the line.
Yeah, it's a great call on Tripper. He's actually been targeted a lot by Tua, so they definitely are building some chemistry. DFS lineups. If you're playing DFS, he might be a great play this week. All right, Justin, let's go to your matchup. The Bucks and the Browns. This should be a fun matchup. The Bucks defensively 14th versus QBs, 3rd versus running backs, 16th versus receivers, and 26th versus tight ends. The Browns 13th versus QB, 31st against running backs, 14th versus receiver, and 4th versus tight end. What say you on this matchup?
Yeah, I think this has the makings of the Germany game, where it was just a back and forth affair between the Bucks and the Seahawks. Both teams kind of match up really well with each other. I think this is Jacoby Brissett's Swain song. He takes his bow, he says thank you, and he goes out with a bang. I'm going to go with it. Jacoby Brissett's going to have a week. Last week he had a week against Buffalo. Now, Buffalo and Tampa Bay, defense-wise, are probably fairly comparable. They have a good, defensive line, a decent linebacking core, and a decent secondary. I think that Jacoby Brissett, if he could go off against Buffalo, he could easily do it against Tampa. Nick Chubb is actually one of the glaring red flags for me this week. Last week his output was pretty crap, but, he fixed it with the fact that he caught passes. That was kind of along the lines of what Ken Walker did last week against Bucks. So maybe a shaky little start there. Obviously, you're going to put him in, but maybe expectations could be tempered a little bit. Cooper and Peoples-Jones, put him in. I know said Cooper was maybe not the best matchup, but looking at it, doing my research, the Bucks have allowed 19.8 points to the starting receivers, the number ones in the last 5 games. That's a wide receiver 1 week. So with Cooper having 31 points last week, I think he could easily get to 19 this week. And Peoples-Jones has 5 straight weeks of double digits. Njoku, I don't want any part of it. Bucks have been surprisingly decent against the tight end this year. On the other side, I'll keep it short and sweet. Brady, you start him with QB2 floor and a QB1 ceiling. Fournette and White. Interesting. Fournette is actually going down to the wires whether he's going to play this week. I think Rashad White is a play regardless. He came on last week with 100 yards. And then you got Evans, Godwin, and Jones. For me, I'm looking at this as Godwin's ascending and Evans is staying stagnant. And by stagnant, I mean he's got 2 wide receiver 1 weeks on the year. Godwin just had his breakout week last week. I think, it might be a shift. Godwin might get, the lesser the attention in Cleveland this week, or I think they're in Tampa. I'm sorry. And, Julio Jones, start him as a low end flex maybe. And then tight ends, once again, not touching them. I'm done with the tight ends at that position or at that team because since Gronk's been gone, they haven't had one that's worked. So
since you've been gone, all right,
pretty much.
we have some comments here. Just want to say what's up to Albert and Travis in the mix. Albert, hello. Patriot Sports Radio, welcome in. Appreciate you. And Travis wanted to comment. Get DPJ on your rosters, especially when Watson is back. Deep leagues, keep an eye out to add Will Fuller as well because Deshaun's he thinks Deshaun's going to be back and rolling, I think he thinks. All right, let's take a break from the breakdown. And listen, we got a Fantasy Feud, overall champ. We're going to make this kind of like a WWE thing. We have tag team champions. We don't have a women's champion yet. That's why we brought the ladies in. Let's get a Family Feud women's champion tonight. Let's get it on.
Brad?
Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson. It's going to be a long game.
All right, ladies, I don't have a buzzer for the game. So what I'm going to have to do is when you know the answer, if you think you know the answer, just have you shout your name. And then that will indicate you're the first person to get the go to answer the question. It works just like Family Feud, though. Once I ask the question, if you get an answer correct, I'll let you take the rest of the round to get the rest of the answers. You got 3 strikes. If you don't finish it out, it goes to your opponent to be able to steal. Pretty basic. Everybody ready?
We're both winners, Debbie, regardless.
I hate going up against another woman in sports because it's so hard to do it. But
You asked for a T-shirt. I got you a T-shirt. There we go.
I love it.
All right. I'm ready to take Nick out already. All right. Let's get on to round number 1. Just having fun with them. We'll go to round number 1. We got top 5 answers on the board. I like to just go by position in our game. So we're going to start with the quarterback position. We're going to last week. There were 2 QBs that threw 4 touchdowns and 3 that threw 3. Can you name one of them?
Ooh. Say that again. 104.
2 QBs that threw 4 touchdowns and 3 that threw 3 touchdowns last week.
And no Googling.
I know, that's what I'm like. I didn't think it last week. I did like the AFC.
Last week.
Last week.
Lady G. It's like I'm all into this week now. Sorry, it's from
I'm ready.
I'm gonna say Dak Prescott.
Dak Prescott. All right, we're getting loosened up. All right, Deb, what you got?
I'm gonna go Josh Allen.
Josh Allen.
I know.
And we got 30 QBs to go. All right, ladies, what you got?
We can name them all.
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow. Great job. That is correct. He's actually number 1. Well, he's tied with number 1. He's one of the 2 that threw for 4. He was number 1 on this list with 4 touchdowns last week. All right, so you got control. What else you got?
Okay. I'm trying to go by divisions in my head.
Mm-hmm.
No, they didn't. Mahomes.
Pat Mahomes.
Right.
He was one of the ones that threw 3 on that list. So you got 2.
Great.
You got 2 on the list so far.
Okay. Let's go with Derek Carr.
Derek Carr. Derek Carr not on this list. Still got 3 remaining.
Tua Tagovailoa.
Tua Tagovailoa.
Oh, hell no!
Tua was on a bye last week, unfortunately.
Oh, dang it. I forgot they won a bye.
That's all right. All right, Deb, you get a chance to steal. You get a chance to steal here, Deb. She's got Joe Burrow and Pat Mahomes. There's 1 QB that threw for 4 TDs and 2 that threw for 3. Can you name one?
I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson. Don't you think Miss Lady G would have known her QB threw for 3
that's
TDs?
true. Right.
Nah, I'm just messing with you. All right. So the rest of this list, Jimmy G was that number 4. He threw for 4 TDs last week.
That was the other 4.
Jacoby Brissett threw for 3 touchdowns last week. And the other one, Andy Dalton, threw for 3 TDs last week. Yeah, believe it or not. If you don't know now, you know.
11,
That's it. Now, hey, now you loosened up. You got round 1. You got round 1 of the books. Let's go to round 2. We're going to go to the running back position. We're going to go to rushing leaders from week 11. So I'm looking for the top 6 running backs and who in yardage from last week.
Just say Deb.
Deb, sorry. All right. Tony Pollard of Dallas Cowboys.
Tony Pollard.
He got the offensive guy of the year.
Top,
after the week.
right. But
For 2
look,
touchdowns.
looking for top rushing leaders and
Got
rushing
it.
yards last week.
Okay.
He's close. He think he had 80 yards, I believe, so he's close to this list.
I'm going to go Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry. He is on this list. He's number 4 on this list with 87 yards.
Okay. I'm straining to think of the matchups. Let's go. Najee Harris.
Najee Harris. Had to get back. I was in the comments. Bandy chiming in saying it's not so easy when you get on the spot. He envies you ladies. He was part of the tag team championship that took place a couple weeks ago. So he gets your pain. All right. So Miss G, you got Derrick Henry number 4. But you got 1 strike. All right. What else you got?
Okay. I just can't think of the matchups, but let's go with Ramondre Stevenson.
Ramondre Stevenson. I actually owe you something here. I looked at my list incorrectly in my sloppy writing. You are correct on Najee Harris. He was number 3 on the list with 90, but Ramondre Stevenson is not on this list. So that was my bad. You got number 3 and you got number 4. No Ramondre on the list. You still got number 1 and 2 and 5 and 6 to go.
I'm going to go Zeke.
Zeke Elliott.
Okay.
Girl, I feel for you.
All right, let me go back over to the NFC. I'm going to go Kenneth Walker.
Kenneth Walker.
Stop it. Get some help.
No Kenneth Walker on this list. All right, so you got a lot of meat on this bone, Deb. You got number 1, number 2, number 5, and number 6 on this list.
I can't even think of that many running backs. How about Cordell Patterson? I just talked about him.
Cordell Patterson.
Right.
Lady G taking a strong 2-0 lead. All right, here's the list. Josh Jacobs was number 1 with 109 yards.
Gosh.
Isaiah Pacheco was number 2 with 107. Devin Singletary is number 5, 86. His teammate was tied him with number 6, Jared Cook, with 86 as well. So that was the list for last week. Believe it or not,
McCaffrey wasn't even on there.
that's why we got it. That's what we learn. That's why we do these, so we learn from them, because I didn't know that either, quite frankly. All right, so listen, it's Black Friday, right? I mean, I like to shop. Everyone likes to shop. Thought I'd throw this next question out for you guys, because it is Black Friday in celebration of said holiday. So according to, the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 answers are on the board. According to wallethub.com, what are the best stores that have the best discounts on this Black Friday 2020?
Lady
G, what you got?
Walmart.
They already got discounted prices, apparently.
Watch me like Walgreens or something.
That is the number 1 Black Friday spot. What kind of survey did they do?
I'll get again, it's from wallethub.com. I'll give you the percentages as we go. Deb, you got a guess?
I mean, Macy's. Can't guess football, but I know my shopping.
Macy's Macy's is number 3 on this list. According to Wallet Hub, their discounts are up to average 53% off.
Wow.
Go get yourself some Macy's today. All right, Deb, what else you got?
I mean, I'm just even going to go more expensive and go with Nordstrom's.
Nordstrom's.
I mean,
That's when they offer no discount.
well, no, I saw some online today actually, so that's why. I mean, the discount was like the thing was $300. It was discounted to like $3.
Oh, that's a good question. Are these brick and mortar stores or are they online stores as well?
True.
This is like I guess this is double. It's both. It's a count of both things. Okay, what else you got, Deb?
I mean, God. I mean, Target.
Target.
I should have said them first.
On Target.
Well, you would think Walmart. I was with you on that.
Yeah.
On Target with that one, they are number 7 on this list. The average 32.9%. So you got Macy's and you got Target so far.
I'm totally blanking, but shop online. I love my Groupon. I don't know. Walgreens.
Walgreens. You're not shopping for antibiotics on Black Friday. Okay. What else you got?
I cannot even think of another shop. I'm clueless. Gina, you want to take over from me here?
Oh, all right, we're gonna do it.
I have never heard someone say so many wrong things, one after the other, consecutively in a row.
All right.
So funny.
This is it, Lady G. Your time to steal it. She's got a lot of meat on this bone for you. She's got Macy's and she's got Target. But you got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 still left on the list.
Tossing to and fro between a couple of them. I'm gonna go Amazon.
Is that
Amazon.com. They are number 6 on this list, believe it or not, with 40.7. The rest of this list, number 1, J.C. Penney, 64.7%.
Are they still in business?
Right, like the ones in my area all closed down.
Hey, I guess that's why it's so discounted. Apparently,
Sears? Is Sears still around?
Belk was number 2 on this list,
Belk?
64.2%.
Yeah, they closed down in my area too.
Number 4, Office Depot, 49.9%. Kohl's was next at 44.2%. And that was the rest of the list. Right?
How about Big Lots? They on there too?
Apparently,
we got Kmart on there.
Apparently, the stores that are closing down give the best discounts. Apparently,
right. Is Kmart
congratulations, Lady G. You're tonight's winner. All right, let's get to the rest of the breakdown. We're going to go back to our boy Nick for the next one once I found my page in my book. The Bears at the Jets. The Bears 16th against QBs, 28th against running backs, 9th versus receivers, 3rd versus tight ends. Jets 10th versus QBs, 13th versus running backs, 5th versus receivers, 15th versus tight ends. What say you, my friend?
Okay, so I'm going to start with the Bears, and this is all contingent on the fact that Justin Fields plays. Because if he doesn't play, you're going to play nobody. So if he plays, you're going to play Justin Fields because in week 6 through 11, he's been the number 1 quarterback. He has been killing it. And he's averaging 29.4 points per game. And the Jets are 10th against running backs and running back, so he gets the bulk of his points on the ground, so be wary of that. And then you're going to play Cole Kmet. On the Jet side of the ball, you're going to play 2 people, 2 only. You're going to play Garrett Wilson, because he is going to actually see the football again through Mike White. And you're going, because the Bears are torrid on defense against the pass, and then you're going to play the Jets defense. That is the stout. They actually have a Super Bowl caliber defense, but they have a Pee Wee football caliber offense. So don't look at me like that. Yeah, they get done. They're better than Miami, so I don't want to hear it. So you are going to play those 4 out of that game.
Super Bowl, whatever. All right, let's get on to. We'll go to Deb for this next one. You got Broncos at Panthers. The Broncos on defense, they are second against QBs. They are 14th against running backs, 3rd versus receivers, 16th versus tight end. The Panthers, 18th versus QBs, 27th versus running backs, 23rd versus receiver, and 11th versus tight end. What say you on this matchup?
Yeah, you know what? I'm actually a big Panthers fan. I have been for years. Not sure why. I've never lived in any of the Carolinas, but love the Panthers. Yeah, maybe that's it. It's one of my favorite colors. But I mean, God, the Panthers have had a tough run. I mean, between head coach Matt Rule getting fired, losing Robbie Anderson, losing Christian McCaffrey. I'm a huge DJ Moore fan. Super, super nice guy. I think he's, holding the offense together at the moment. God, what a QB carousel that team has seen recently. Baker Mayfield, PJ Walker. Now Sam Darnold is back in this week. We'll start to see him after, he was on our IR for, a high ankle sprain. I actually know Sam as well. Great guy. I wish he was as good of a quarterback. Go ahead, Justin. You have your hand up.
Is he still seeing Ghost?
Right? Yeah, I felt bad. That's actually a football term, but yes. So we'll see what happens. It's interesting because I know Sam, he trains with Jordan Palmer in LA in the offseason with Josh Allen and Kyle Allen. So it's just crazy that he's just not performing and he hasn't. I really liked him. I with the Jets was cool, and then I thought he would do really well with the Panthers. He obviously hasn't. But anyway, the Panthers have lost 6 of their last 8 games. They're looking to end their 4-game losing streak. But let's face it, the Broncos suck too. So I mean, they're just as bad. They're 3-7. They've lost 6 of their last 7 games. Russell Wilson, shockingly, has not done well. He's supposed to be the top of the AFC West. He just struggles in the Broncos system. Last week, he failed to throw a touchdown throw, for a 3rd time in 2022 against the Raiders in OT. Lost that game. This game is going to come down to defense. That's the bottom line. Both teams have defenses that rank in the top half of the league, with neither team going more than 22 points in each of their last 2 games. So, the defense is consistent. Whoever can hold the offenses is going to win. I want to see the Panthers win, but I'm not sure Sam Darnold is the guy to do that. Historically, the Panthers don't fare well playing the Broncos. They are 1-6 all time in matchups with Denver, including the Super Bowl loss, Super Bowl 50 loss. So the Broncos are favored. I'm going with that. So I have Panthers 14, Broncos 21.
Yeah, I think the Broncos, certainly have the better tools to win, but we thought that all season and they haven't produced much. So
they haven't played well.
It's going to be an interesting matchup for sure. All right, Miss Gina, let's go to you. The Ravens. Is that America's team? No, just kidding. Ravens at the Jags. The Ravens defensively 21st against QBs, 8th versus running backs, 26th versus receivers, 17th versus tight end. Jags 23rd against QBs, 24th versus running backs, 26th versus receivers, 12th versus tight ends. What say you on this matchup?
Hey. Y'all see the hat. You know what it is. I'm all about my purple and black. The Ravens. So I'm going to start with the Jaguars here. Some good stats you read off there, but they actually don't have anybody on the injured list. So that team is coming in healthy to Baltimore. So that's always a good thing. How many teams can say that? The Ravens certainly cannot, but the Jaguars are coming in healthy. We know they have a few good pieces on there. Travis Etienne, their running back. You either already had him or you don't. I expect to see Travis out there trying to run against that defense. they interestingly enough picked up Daryl Henderson, who the Rams cut, and they picked up Daryl Henderson. So I'm assuming he's going to get, more carries than he did when he was on the Rams. So it'll be interesting to see what he's able to do down there with the Jaguars. And then also Jermichael Hasty, ever since they sent James Robinson to the Jets, he's gotten a few carries. So, but Travis Etienne obviously going to carry the weight. That's the dude you're going to have. But if you had Daryl Henderson, I don't know. You might want to consider him for a flex. Maybe he'll get some play in this game. Obviously, in the wide receivers, Marvin Jones, Zay Jones, and Christian Kirk, those three guys have kind of been carrying them in terms of the passing game. They get around the same amount of targets, like 6, 7, and 8. And so they're fair to middling. But they're coming in healthy. That's just the big thing, especially this time of the year. On to the Ravens. Probably the most notable things there. Lamar was listed on the injury list. Apparently, he suffered a hip injury. We kind of didn't know anything about it at first, and all of a sudden it popped up on the list in the middle of this week. But the last 2 practices, he was a full participant and is 100% expected to play on Sunday. You obviously, if you have Lamar, you're able to get points on the ground and through the air on him. However, the Ravens' passing game has not been as good as it was at the beginning of the season. So depending on who your other quarterback is, you could play them, but I'm biased. I'm always going to tell you play Lamar. I do expect our offense to pop back out and get to where it was when we were killing it at the beginning of the season, averaging about 32 points a game. I think that average is now down to about 28. But we need to get back to that 32, 33 points a game. We do have another pass catcher who should be on the field, Charlie Kolar, a rookie we drafted, had a hernia and wound up going on IR. Didn't start the season. He's back. We know the offense that we run and the OC that we have. He favors tight ends. So Mark Andrews has double the targets of anybody else on our team. Mark will continue to get those types of targets. Isaiah Likely. So we're going to have Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, and possibly Charlie Kolar. We have like a ridiculous amount of tight ends on the team right now. I'm assuming somebody somewhere is going to have to get cut. Devin Duvernay and Demarcus Robinson are our 2 top wide receivers. Those guys are just not getting enough targets, period. I really do hope that offense opens up and it changes. But it's hard to say, if you have Duve, if he gets targeted, the dude is going to bring you points. If he does not get targeted, like what can he do? And you just have no way of knowing. So you're just kind of taking a chance. Speaking of defense, I would, if you have Ravens defense, I would continually play them. That defense started off not so hot, right? But with the addition of Roquan, that him paired with PQ, they have been a dynamic duo. This defense has continued to get better each and every week. It's holding teams to fewer and fewer points. We're not playing the strongest part of our schedule right now. That was more so at the beginning. But in any case, they're another NFL professional team, and we're holding people, to fewer and fewer points. So that defense, special teams. I like leagues with IDP. I like to play leagues with IDP. So them, if you have Marlon Humphrey, if you do IDP, Justin Houston, those Marcus Williams is actually coming back, who was actually leading the league in interceptions before he hurt his wrist and went out. And Calais Campbell, who actually will be kind of going back home to Jacksonville. I expect Calais to continue to cut up and show up because he was on the Jacksonville Jaguars and is apparently very loved down there. So that's it. I expect the Ravens to win this game. It's hard to tell about a score. If our offense gets back going like it was, it could be a little ugly. But safe to say they're going to do whatever it takes to win. However, the Jaguars have been an interesting, and I'm going to land here, interesting rival. They haven't beat Lamar since we've gotten Lamar, but for several years they actually led in wins against the AFC North, not just the Ravens, but the AFC North. There's a real interesting history the Jags have with the AFC North, but since we've had Lamar, we spanked them the last time we played them. hopefully it'll be a repeat of that on Sunday.
Lady G likes all the Ravens. Put them
Wow.
in. Start them up. All right, let's go to Justin. The Rams at the Chiefs. Rams defensively, 11th versus QBs, 6th versus running backs. They are 25th versus receivers and 10th versus tight ends. The Chiefs, 26th versus QBs, 25th versus running backs, 29th versus receiver, and 21st versus tight end. What say you, my friend?
I say the news is that Matthew Stafford is not playing, not because of concussion, but because of a neck condition. You know, that he's hurting a little bit out there.
Neck hurt, honey.
Yeah. He said, "Where's my Cooper Cup?" Oh, I'm gonna go stand next to him on the sideline. So yeah, no confidence in any of the Rams. We saw what Johnny Wolford did before. It was it was, oof. So I'm gonna go play every single Chief I got, because this game could get ugly real fast. And Mahomes likes to cut it up real differently than everybody else. Everybody else would just be like, all right, here, Isaiah Pacheco, run the ball. No, Patrick Mahomes is going to be like, wait, this is the Super Bowl champions? And I get to drop a 40 burger on them? Let's do it. Travis Kelce, go long for like 5 touchdown passes. We'll cut it up with 5 catches, 25 yards, and 5 touchdown passes. It's gonna be a bad week to be a Rams fan. It's always a bad week to be a Rams fan, but it's gonna be extra bad this week. It's gonna burn real bad. Can you tell that I'm a 49ers fan, ladies? Can you tell?
He's loving that salt getting in the wound.
That's all I really gotta say about this one. Bench the Rams, start the Chiefs. You'll be good.
Which Justin, by the way, interviewed James Washington, 2-time Super Bowl champion with Dallas and the Rams, and he picked the 49ers to win the Super Bowl this year. FYI.
Hey, James.
Hey,
Okay.
listen, that sounds pretty Homer-like, and since we're talking about
Deb.
Homer stuff, a good segue. Let's get our Homer picks in. All right, so listen, I want to make this real easy for everyone. The Texans are dead last against fantasy QBs. Of course, I'm taking Jeff Wilson Jr. I think I took Raheem Mostert for half the season, and he might not play. It sounds like he's not playing, so I can't take him this week. So I'm going to go Jeff Wilson Jr. That's my dope Homer pick of the week. Justin, what's yours?
My dope Homer pick of the week is going to be Brandon Ayuk. Marshawn Lattimore is practicing, which means he'll be all over Deebo Samuel. And Brandon Ayuk has been a freaking monster. I'll tell you a little bit more about that later on the previews. But Brandon Ayuk is my dope Homer pick of the week.
Nick, what's your Homer dope pick of the week?
My Homer pick of the week is Jalen. It hurts so damn good hurts. Running in the end zone every single week. Let's go.
All right. Lady G, I think I already know who yours is, but who's your Homer dope pick of the week?
I think you know me and you do not. My Homer pick of the week is actually dope Gus Edwards, dude. Gus Edwards is back. And I was surprised they ran him as much the last time when he came back, but he's back. He is Gus the Bus. It's the reason why we call him that. And so I think he's going to get some runs in those Jags. So I'm definitely, it is Gus Edwards. I'm so glad to have the Bus back.
It's Lady G, Miss Gina, if you're nasty with Gus Edwards. Gotta love it. All right, Deb, what say you? What's your dope Homer pick of the week?
All right. My dope Homer pick of the week is A.J. Brown from the Eagles. You know, but I think he's the best wide receiver in the league. I will pick him every single week, and go Birds. Cannot wait to be Packers.
Indeed. That's a great stack to have, AJ and Jalen. I mean, I love it. Absolutely. All right, Justin, let's go to you for our next one. Saints versus the Niners. Since we're talking about Homer picks, Saints, they are 19th versus fantasy QBs, 9th versus running backs, 18th versus receivers, 2nd versus tight ends. 49ers, 6th versus QBs, 2nd versus running backs, 20th to wide receivers, surprisingly, and 6th versus tight ends. What say you, my friend, on this matchup?
This is the game we get back against the NFC South, my friend. The trap game that was the Falcons that we fell straight into the trap. And it hurt. And now we get to play the Saints and we get to wreck their day. I love it. Every single time we play the Saints, it's always a good show. Andy Dalton last week had 3 touchdowns. I'm not expecting that out of him this week. I could see him maybe getting 2 last-minute garbage time touchdowns. Kamara has been absolutely pitiful against decent defenses. Lady G knows because Baltimore held him to, I think, like 7 points in fantasy. Pittsburgh held him to single digits. The Rams held him to 12 points, and their pitiful defense. Carolina, Atlanta, all these teams that were holding Kamara back. And now you got the 49ers, the best run defense in the game. Yeah, hell yeah. I'm not playing Kamara on Sunday. I know it's going to be hard for everybody to hear that, but I'm keeping him on my bench. Olave, for some reason, I'm thinking this guy's going to have a big game. I don't trust Chardavius Ward. He's good, but he's also cocky as shit. I could see Olave breaking a big one off. Landry, slot receiver, always iffy. Slot receivers are your PPR best friends. And Juwan Johnson, 5 touchdowns in the past 5 games. Play him just for the streak right there. That's consistency, man. That shows that Andy Dalton really goes to this guy in the red zone. Stick with that. On the other side, play every damn 49er you got. Jimmy Garoppolo has completed 71% of his passes with CMC in the lineup, 8 touchdowns and an interception. You got CMC, who's been an RB1 ever since coming over. Mitchell, he's not looking like that great because he's not getting the touches. But guess what? All they need is 1 touchdown to start looking real good again. He's running hard. Every time he gets the ball, he's running for 5 yards per carry. I love it. And then Ayuk, wide receiver 6 since he broke out against Atlanta. You can't script that because guess what? Your boy told you all about Ayuk. I said, be a little patient. Ayuk's going to break out. What happens? He breaks out and he's the wide receiver 6 ever since. And then Kittle, same. He's tight end 2 since week 6. And Debo is the one guy. I said it last week and I was wrong, but this week I actually think it will be true. Marshawn Lattimore is a good cover corner. I would say leave Debo to your flex spots and temper your expectations because while he can break it, he's not a great route runner, and Marshawn Lattimore is a phenomenal cover corner.
All right. Thank you so much for covering the entire 49ers roster. We so appreciate it.
Oh,
Right,
I forgot to get into the IDPs. I'm sorry.
Let's go on to Deb with the Chargers versus the Cardinals, which is a very interesting matchup because Kyler Murray looked like he is a go for this one. So we got the Chargers defensively 17th versus fantasy QBs, 30th versus running backs, 11th versus receivers, 28th versus tight ends. Cardinals 28th versus QBs, 21st versus running backs, 15th versus receivers, and they are dead last against tight ends. What say you about this matchup?
All right, so again, crucial game for both of these teams. Looking towards the playoffs, we will see. Definitely want to start with the QBs though on this one. First off, love Justin Herbert. Covered the Chargers training camp. Watched him throw bombs to Keenan Allen, like literally every day. I think the rib injury really hurt the Chargers this season. Obviously hurt him, but. Last week, he had his first week where he was, 100 plus QB rating since the injury. So hopefully this game, he's really back. He also has his top receivers back with him this coming week. Keenan Allen is supposed to play. Williams won't, but Eckler's in, and Eckler's been doing great. He's had 6 games of catching at least 7 passes. Kyler Murray, not a fan, I have to say. Never have been. I feel like he's kind of a drama-filled quarterback. He hurts the locker room rapport. They haven't had a great season. They haven't had a great season in like 4 years. Partly, I think, because of him. He hasn't played the last 2 games with the hamstring injury. He's back, but I'm not sure that's a good thing because the Cardinals have lost the last 4 or 5 games where he has started. So, and also the Cardinals are 1-5 at State Farm Arena. So, I don't know. I'm going Chargers on this one. Both teams were coming off bad losses last week. Arizona, the 38-10 loss to San Fran in Mexico City, while LA was barely beaten by, KC 30-27 last week. So yeah, I feel like with Herbert there and I feel like he might, that the team will rally, and I feel like the Chargers have this one.
In the summer, looking at the schedule, I was looking at this game like, man, this is going to be a big game with playoff implications. I am shocked at the way both these teams have come out this year. They both really need this game. So I think this one's going to be a really good one. Hopefully a fantasy bonanza of both of them going back and forth. At least a fun game to watch nonetheless. All right, let's go to Lady G for our next one. We're going to get the Raiders versus the Seahawks. Raiders defensively not very good. 30th versus quarterbacks, 29th versus running backs, 17th versus receivers, and 27th versus tight ends. The Seahawks, not so much, not very good either. They're 22nd versus QBs, 26th versus running backs, 7th though against receivers, 31st, against tight ends. What say you on this matchup?
Yes, so interesting game here. The Seahawks is trying to see if they can stay at the top or near the top of the division. I believe the 49ers have taken over now. Is that correct, Justin? Leading the division. And so the Seahawks are just behind, but they had led for multiple weeks this season. Most people think that they're just going to completely drop off. I don't know. I don't think that they were a fraud. But I think you just run into matchups, and things do not work. So, obviously Kenneth Walker, some people have been able to slow him down a little bit, but if I had Kenneth Walker, I'm definitely still going to play him against the Raiders. We know the Raiders defense is almost non-existent, and he does have good weapons there, Gino, with Metcalf and Lockett and Marquise. Against the Raiders, I will play those guys. You should be in good shape. On the Raiders side, Devontae seems to have found the groove now. So I do think that Devontae, will be out there scoring. Like I'm somewhat surprised at the season that the Raiders have had. Looking at it on paper, they look like somewhat like they were going to be leading the league offensively, at least, not defensively. That did not happen. And it's kind of been, that team has been an enigma to me. I don't know if it's just coaching, coaching and play calling, just play across the board. Certainly O-line needs a lot of help. And then just defensively not able to get it done. But on their side, Josh Jacobs, he's been at the top. Josh Jacobs, this season, as an RB, so you're definitely still playing him regardless. And Devontae. But an interesting one, if you're just desperate for somebody, you might want to take a look at Foster Moreau. He's been getting some targets. Obviously, Renfro, is on IR, and Waller, has been out. And so Foster Renfro has been picking up some targets. So if you're just desperate for somebody, you may want to take a look at him. I think that this is really hard to call as far as who's going to win. I want to say the Seahawks, but I just feel like this game could go either way, to be honest.
Yeah, it really could. It's interesting you brought up Foster Moreau because, again, I brought it up, Seahawks 31st against tight end, so it could be a nice streaming matchup for you for sure. Nick, let's get to the 8 o'clock game, talking about homers. The Packers going home to the Eagles. The Packers are 7th versus QBs. They are 22nd versus running backs, 12th versus receivers, and 13th versus tight ends. The Eagles, numero uno against fantasy QBs. They are 18th against running backs, 10th versus receivers, and 9th versus tight ends. What say you in the matchup?
Okay, so I'm going to bring Deb in on this one to help me out. I'm going to cover the Packers side.
Great.
We discussed this like 2 minutes ago. All right, so here we go. So for the Packers, if you have a 2-quarterback team, only start Karen Rodgers. I'm telling you now, between the week 6 and 11, he's this big $200 million quarterback. I'm the best Super Bowl MVP. Nobody can beat me. You're number 8, sir, and you got 1 foot off the field because Jordan Love is going to come on the field, even though we all know he can't play. Okay, so he's the 8th quarterback ranked in the past 5 weeks. He's got 15 points per game. If you're desperate and you need a 2 quarterback league, start Karen Rodgers. You can't count on him in a 1 quarterback league. It has come to this, folks. It is over. The other guy that you're going to play, I hate to say it too, Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones, you're going to play him because he's a very good back in the league. He's only had 2 top 10s the past 5 weeks. But how do you sit Aaron Jones? So he's going to fall in the end zone. As far as the other guys on the team, as far as Tunyon, you can't count on him. His nickname is Casper. He shows up once, and you don't see him for the rest of the season. And then Dotson, you don't know if he's going to catch the ball. He's a one good week. Randall Cobb might come back. Romeo Doubs. Haven't seen him. I've been looking at the grocery store, checking out the milk cartons. Haven't seen him there either. So you're going to start only Karen and Aaron. That's it. Karen and Aaron show. That's it, with somewhat confidence against the Birds. Now, on the Eagle side, you're definitely going to start Hurts, and you're going to start Miles Sanders in this game due to the inept defense of the Green Bay Packers. And with confidence, you're going to start, somewhat confidence. I'm going to back that up with Devonta Smith. I have him. I don't want to play him. I don't have anybody better, so I'm going to play him. So, but I have an expert to come in, and she is going to discuss visualize her statue of AJ Brown. Aren't you, Deb? Aren't you?
I agree with Devontae Smith. I feel like he's been a little quiet lately too, and I feel like he's due for a big game. And I mean, it's Devontae Smith, but no, and also too AJ Brown. Obviously, he's been killing it. I unfortunately don't have any stats in front of me, but no, that's I think it'll be a good game, and we'll see. I mean, Eagles definitely have it. Green Bay's been doing horrible this season, so if Eagles can't take them, we'll be 10 and what?
This is it for Green Bay. This is their Super Bowl.
I think you guys will have a good day. You guys will win the game, but I do think that this Packers running game can definitely put some dents in this Eagles defense, and we've seen it. I've seen it in a few games running right at them. They're susceptible, and I was just looking at the stat, 18th against fantasy running backs. So, if it gets in that, but again, if you guys put enough points, they can't control the game with the run if you guys start putting up the points on them. So it'll be interesting. It'll be an interesting matchup for sure.
To that point too, like with Slay, I was shocked with the Commanders game too that Slay could not hold McLaurin. So we'll see how he holds Green Bay because we'll see. But I mean it's big play Slay. So and he just couldn't. We just couldn't. That game.
So Deb, can I ask you a question? Deb, did Ndamukong Suh help?
Yes, and I think that definitely. I mean, Howie brought in Ndamukong Suh for sure, and that we needed to do that. And I'm excited to see how he performs as well. Against Green Bay for sure.
It's a testament to him that they threw him right in, no problem. Hey, just get your big butt in there and start putting pressure on it. I think they, I forget who the other acquisition was, but they combined for like 7 tackles.
Linval Joseph.
Yeah, in that game. So yeah, pretty impressive move in the middle of the season. All right, ladies, listen, we had one other segment we're gonna do, but we're gonna let you get the heck on out of here. We've kept you long enough, but we appreciate you being in here. First, let's start with our new ladies fantasy feud champion, Lady G. Let everyone know where they can follow, subscribe, and get all of your great content, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me again. Nice to meet you, Deb. Lady G, Miss Gina, you can find me on Twitter the majority, like 99% of the time. I'm in Twitter Spaces. I host NFL Primetime Game Twitter Spaces. So all Sunday night, Monday night, and Thursday night games, I am hosting a space, and we are in there watching the game live, commenting, and having a good time. So you definitely want to check that out. I am a part of the Undroppables. I know you've heard of them. If you have not, I'm not sure where you've been, but you should definitely be following the Undroppables, who gives out great fantasy football information and player bets and props, like just all around. And I really like this group because the guys, they have a lot of integrity, and it's really important that they try to put out the best information for you. So follow the Undroppables on Twitter, on TikTok, on theundroppables.com. And also you can follow She Talks. My Twitter handle is She Talks Football, at She Talks Football, but is one L at the end, at She Talks Football. I also have a YouTube channel, She Talks Football, for my uploads, for videos and all that good stuff. And don't think I forgot, Nick. We know Ravens Steelers is coming up soon. Definitely we'd like to be back for that conversation. Just have one question for you, right? I remember having this conversation because we came here preseason. And we were talking about what we thought the Ravens of all the teams were going to do, right? And I believe you had the Ravens going something like 8 and 9, something along that line.
I cannot confirm nor deny that conversation.
Right? So I'm looking right now, we're heading into week 13. So I just want to put out there what are the Steelers looking like, and what's the trajectory for the Ravens. But we don't have to get into it now. We can come back in a few weeks to talk about it. But
we're gonna have to set up a fantasy a ladies championship that week. Have you back, because wow, listen, Lady G, I just want to say something real quick. Just so you're aware, since the summer, Nick has denounced his Steelers.
I didn't. I'm not going to go over this again.
He don't even talk. He's all Eagles all of a sudden. All Eagles. There's no mention of.
There's nothing wrong with that.
This guy used to have a towel in the back of the Steelers. I don't even see.
I still have a towel.
It's disappeared.
It's gone.
It's all gone. Wow. Anyway. All right, let's get Deb. Where can we all follow, subscribe, and get all your great content as well?
Absolutely. So I am at Sport Report Deb on both IG and Twitter. Mostly on IG, starting a TikTok soon. And I'll be covering the rest of the games. I do a lot of different podcasts, as well as I do I call it touchdown timeout. It's a recap of all of the games. Once Super Bowl's over, I'm going to be starting my interview show once again. To kind of get us through that downtime. I will be covering the Pro Bowl as well as Super Bowl this year, as well as the draft. And also XFL. So I'm excited for what's coming up. I'll have tons of interviews for you guys and some content. So check me out. And thank you guys for having me as well. Again, this has been super fun. And Lady G, amazing.
No, thank you so much for having you. Yeah, make sure you go check both of our wonderful ladies here. Yeah, Deb, I've noticed in a lot of great interviews on your page, a lot of great athletes and stuff. So make sure you go follow, subscribe, and get all your great content. We appreciate you both being in, friends of the show. And now we have a champion. So we're either going to have to rematch, or if Deb's not available, we're going to have to bring someone else to challenge the champ pretty soon indeed. So we appreciate you guys.
We both won.
You both are winners. You both are winners. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. We appreciate you. We're going to send you out with our boy Bandy. He does his flex starts of the week. We'll send you out with that. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
So much.
I've been working out.
Here we are again. That's right, here we are again. Bandy's Flex Starts of the Week. Let's go ahead and get into it. Guys, this week I've got some my GP rhymes. Look, Joe Mixon, concussed. We know he's going to be out at least a week. This may be a Band-Aid for you, but go ahead and put P. Ryan right in that flex spot.
Come with me if you want to live.
Moving on to my next guy, I've got Latavius Murray. Melvin Gordon, bye-bye. Gone over there. Latavius Murray's going to be getting the work, getting the yards. It may not always be pretty, but he is going to score you fantasy points all that jazz.
Make your dreams come true. Just do it.
Moving on to the next guy, I've got Kyron Williams. Now, basically an unknown here, but listen here. Darrell Henderson, waived, gone. A lot of that going on this week. So Kyron Williams is going to be an unknown help this week. Cam Akers, we already know, cannot get it done. So go ahead and throw Kyron Williams into the flex spot this week.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Guys, and also don't forget to check out the Fourth and Flex Fantasy Football Podcast right here on YouTube.
And his name is John C.
Your time is up, my time is now. You can't see me, my time is now. It's the franchise where I'm shining now. You can't see me, my time is now.
You can't see me. All right, Nick, let's finish up our breakdown with the Monday Nighter. Steelers at the Colts. Steelers. I don't know if you want to talk about this team. 29th against QB, 17th versus running backs, 32nd, dead last against receivers, 8th versus tight ends. Colts, 15th versus QBs, 16th versus running backs, numero uno against receivers, and 20th versus tight ends. Who you like? What you got?
Okay, so in this game, the only players I like from Pittsburgh is Najee Harris and Pat Freiermuth. Everybody else is not doing well. I would play Freiermuth on a flex, low end. He gets volume. He gets you about 8-9 points a game, and in a tight end, even in PPR, that's an 8 or 9 rank, depending on how your scoring is. As far as Najee Harris, again, he hasn't been doing well. Last week, he did have a top 8 performance. I'm hoping that he can build on that. As far as their receivers goes, Pickens, he's nice, but against going up against a number one pass defense, I definitely would not look to count on him. Maybe a low end flex at that. And as far as on Indianapolis, the only guy I'd play with confidence is Taylor. He does get in the end zone. He's going to get you 80 to 100 rushing yards per game. And as far as the receiver, low end flex is Pittman, because he gets you volume. He does average 9 receptions per game, so that's 9 points right there in the PPR. I just talked to a guy today. He plays in a 2-point PPR. I never heard of that. So that's what we're gonna go with for that game. And I wouldn't play either defenses.
Oh my God, I don't know why I can't stop laughing. All right, so Justin, let's go to Ultimate DFS lineups.
The dose is strong tonight, brother. I'm gonna give you a dose of this DFS lineup. We're gonna go with the nice back here, Seattle. You know, like Miss Gina said, start them all, man. Like Geno Smith has been looking real good. He threw for 25 points last week against the Bucks. What do you think he's gonna do against Vegas? He's gonna tear that shit up. Then you got Kenneth Walker. This team has been terrible against running backs. And okay, all right. And then we got DK Metcalf, 6,500. I'm gonna start him because that's almost guaranteed 60 yards and a touchdown. Then we got Keenan Allen, and we got 6,100 for Keenan Allen, number 1 wide receiver on the Chargers. Mike Evans, 6,700. And Jeff Wilson, 5,900. Rashad White at 5,100. Conklin, loving it. Conklin back with a viable quarterback. And then the Jets defense finishing off against Chicago. It's kind of a steal at 3,300. Are you okay over there?
Yeah, I just now I'm laughing because Nick signed off because he thinks I'm laughing at him. I'm not even laughing at him. I just, never mind. I'll bring it up later. Here's my ultimate DFS lineup.
Right.
Jeff Burrow against the Titans. They are 20.
Jeff Burrow. That's one of the best ones right there. Jeff Burrow. There's always one. We found it. We found Waldo.
Oh my god. Oh my god. It's one. Listen, it's the holidays, all right? It's the guy's name is Burrow. That's all I know. Listen, the Titans are 27th against quarterbacks, all right? Damn it. David Montgomery going against the Jets. I can't stand the Jets, but he is the lone man. Jets do have a decent defense. No, all BS aside. Nick said Super Bowl caliber. I don't know if I agree with that, but I know they are decent at least. They're 13th against fantasy running backs. But again, lone man. It's all about volume in fantasy. Who's going to get the opportunities. David Montgomery is going to be that guy. Jeff Wilson, again, talked about him being a great buy this week. Now that Raheem Mostert, the price has probably gone up on DFS, but the bottom line is right now at the price I got him for, that's a great steal right now because the Texans are dead last against running backs. Miami's going to run all over the Texans on Sunday. Can't wait to see that. Christian Kirk against the Ravens. Again, 26th versus fantasy wide receivers, so that's a good play. Tyler Boyd, again, Titans brought up that little stack matchup there. They're 30th against receivers. Amari Cooper, brought him up. I think he's like almost one of those guys that you really should, while this trade deadline's here, you should be trading for with Deshaun Watson coming back. Really like him. This matchup this week with the Bucs, like you said, it might be that swan song for Jacoby Brissett. So who's going to benefit from that? Obviously, Amari Cooper. Rashad White, you brought him up before without, maybe is Fournette playing? Is he not? Either way, doesn't matter. He's got a good matchup with Cleveland 31st against fantasy running backs, so like that a lot. Foster Moreau is a good buy at 3,400. Again, with the Seahawks 31st against fantasy tight ends. That's a decent buy this week. Commanders, we talked about how hot this defense is getting, and you're going against Atlanta, which is not all that great offensively. But, and again, if they are, we talked about that earlier, what they do well is what the Commanders do well defensively. So that could be a bad matchup for them. All right. So we're going to get on out of here tonight because apparently those gummies are wonderful. Let's get the Sunday feeling you want to take us. We're going to be up early with you guys. We got Brian Scott with all the injury news. We're going to have Mikey Betts to get you paid. Jay's plugs of the week. We got all the good fun. Fantasy Jesus, of course. Let us all rise for Sunday morning mass. We want you guys there. We appreciate you, Dick. I wasn't laughing at you, so quit getting butthurt about stuff. All right, we appreciate you, and we are out.
We're on a mission.
Right, that's because you have Mike.
We're on a mission. We're on a mission, guys.
Put on your life vest, let's stop breaker. Put on your life vest, let's stop breaker. Put on your life vest, let's stop breaker. It's like put on your life vest, let's stop breaker.
We're on a mission, guys.
Yeah, that's what.